Hello everyone, this is Chris Interactive, and in this video we will create a new component that I'm calling a list view, which will allow us to display basically an array of data on the screen. So we'll have a sort of uniform look and feel to our application. So we'll accomplish this by using our first bit of using some JSX, so that we can make this list view as generic as possible, so that we can just pass in a render function which tells us how to render whatever the item is. But that's our goal, or our focus for this video. Alright, thank you for watching the video and for subscribing. And if you're not a subscriber, I appreciate it if you consider subscribing to the channel. With those things said, let's go ahead and get started here. So I did forget one thing in the previous video here when we dealt with the security category model, and we're going to need it here shortly. So let's create another getter here, public get abbreviation. We're going to do something very similar to the text. So const text is equal to an object, has a property on it called text, and the difference being this time I need more than one undefined. I guess I really don't need it. I did it anyway, but let's just stick with undefined. You'll see why we have a space here in a second. So const territory, that's equal to this dot territory or text, and we take the text property, and what we want for these is just the first characters. So we have the territory, we have the type, which is this dot type, or text dot text dot character add 0, same deal. And the thing, learn to program. Thing that reason why we have two words here is for segment, const segment, which, like I said, probably not even required. I don't guess text or test everything. So we have text, take the text, and the thing is that segment is multiple words. So let's split. We'll split on the space, then we'll do reduce, and we get previous and current. And what we'll return is basically a template string. Let's start off with an empty string to begin with. And we'll take previous, and we will take character at 0. So first character there. So now we have all the parts. We can return another template string and territory, type, segment. Go ahead and save that. We can check real quick to make sure it's working. So in the securities view, console log this dot categories, first one, dot abbreviation, save that. If we look, so we have the abbreviation going on, so that's working the way that we want. Now we can focus on our list view. So inside of the components folder, new file, so this is just at the root components, so list view.view. Inside of this thing, we will just make the class side of things list view. Important part of it, though, instead of TS, the script will be TSX. So we can use JSX. So we need a render function because of that. Render and return. And what do we do? Let's put our parentheses here. So UL will return this, semicolon there for a moment, and in here we'll have an li, and we'll just put some text. See that things are working. Let's go ahead and save that. So back to our securities. What we'll do is come in somewhere, someplace, import from components slash list view.view, list view. Of course, have to register that. List view. And we'll just replace our div up here with a list view. So if we save that, so now instead of securities, it's changed to say list view. So we have at least that part working correctly. So let's return to our list view. We're going to need to pass in some stuff. So we'll take in the prop and start propping some stuff. So prop, private, read only. What we'll do is take in order here, I guess, items not equal to, so these items will be in any array since we don't know what they're going to be. So any array, we'll have a prop, which is private read only key function. So since we're doing basically a for loop, let's make sure we can get a key off of each item. Any, and I'm going to say number. All of mine have numbers. We could do or string, really. And what else do we need? We need at prop, private, read only. So we'll have list of items. And main thing I want to deal with is if you click on one of those items, I want something to happen. So we'll have an on click method passed into us that will take an item, again, any, and you can do something with it. Last but not least, so the whole point, the whole reason we're using TSX here in this render function is we don't obviously know what the item is beforehand. Some could be anything. So we'll have a function that gets passed into us, private read only. We'll just call it a render function. That render function will take any item and it will output JSX element to us. So I think that has all of the things that we need. Let's create a little function in here. We'll call it ID function, item any, just because typically, there may come a time where we want to specify what the key was, but most of the items have an ID that we've done. So what we'll do is say return type of this dot key function is not equal to undefined. So if we specify what that is, then we will just return this dot key function item. Otherwise, item.id. Okay, so let's come into our render function here. First off, if type of items equals undefined. It's not super important here, except it should be this dot items. It just keeps a console from getting all messed up, getting all these errors while we're fixing things and making things work. So if the items are undefined, we'll just return. Otherwise, we need to do something with them. The something is going to come into this UL, put our curlies in. So this dot items dot map. So we have an item, whatever that item is. And what we're going to do is pull this thing up in here. Now, don't do what I did when preparing for this and forget that you need to actually, in fact, return something from this for it to display anything. What we'll do is specify our key on here, which is just this dot key function of x. And we do want something more interesting inside of here. And actually, we could put our little parentheses in here. That way we can put the, let's go ahead and do it. Otherwise, you have to keep that on the same line as the return. Let's put our little parentheses here. That way we can drop stuff down. I guess maybe make it look a little better. Okay, so we have our li. We need something inside of it. That something is going to be an anchor tag. On our anchor class is equal to list item content. We'll put an href, good old void. And last for this one, on click. So the on click. So there's a couple ways of doing this. What we're going to do is sort of lambda function this, and so then we just need this dot on click x. So sometimes it might cause over rendering, keep running the render function because of this lambda. There's a few things you can do to get rid of it, but that's optimize when you need to. So now we'll put in a div here, and we'll say class is equal to list item text, and inside of here, I guess it doesn't need to be text, who knows, but this dot, so now we'll use our render function. I'll put our content in there, and next step here is, so I'm using font awesome icons all over the place, and originally when I started I was, just add an icon in here. Problem is that we're inside of TSX trying to use a view component. There's apparently a project out there where you can use each component inside the other. I don't want to deal with it, basically. There's some other things that we can do maybe eventually, but this is all getting around to me saying I'm sort of avoiding the problem, because what I want is a right angle, so we'll just use the HTML right angle, at least for now. So that gives us a little right angle there and all that. Before we deal with any styling, let's get something on the screen so we can look at it. So back to our securities. So like I said, we're going to deal with clicking. We can get rid of the created here. So we'll put private on click category. So if you have clicked on a category, which is a security category model, for now what we'll do is bring back our console log statements. Category private on click security, and that's a security model. You guessed it. Console log again. We're getting there. So we have our on click handlers. So what we need now is the render functions. So what we'll have is a private render function category. Again, category model. And here we return our parentheses. This is going to be a label. And it's going to actually be a div first, since we need a single root element. Div. I feel like you're telling me something. You are. You're telling me that we forgot that our securities view right now is TS TypeScript, so we need to convert that to TSX. Now we're good to go. Put some content in our label here for a category. That's going to be the text of it. And we're going to put a small down here as well. And this is going to be category abbreviation that we just created. Saving myself some typing and time. Category security. So over here, this thing is going to be security model. So our security is coming in here. It doesn't have a text, it has a symbol though, and category. So tell it that we know for sure it's not null. So we'll put the abbreviation for that. Save it. I guess we were premature saving. Let's do the template now. So let's put a root div, have our list view. So in our first view here, what do we got? V bind, and that's items, and that's going to be the securities. V bind on click, and that's the on-click security. And v bind render function. Stop mistyping stuff. And our render a security. All right, so let's copy that. And this is categories. On-click category and render function category. Let's save that. Cross our fingers that we haven't broken something. And we've broken something. Key function is not a function. It's because I like to skip stuff. So, no, I'm allowed to skip stuff. What are we doing? If key function is not undefined, then do this. What is wrong with that? Key function. Nothing's wrong with that if you use the right thing. It's supposed to be ID function there. Was it ID function? Yes, it was. So let's save that. Once again, apparently crossing the fingers has not helped. Oh, there we go. So we have everything being displayed now. So let's deal with some styling. So in our list view here, we need a new file. And we're going still with the sass. Tooling wise, I probably prefer the SCSS. Might be something to help, but I'm stubborn and we're sticking with it. So let's bring in some variables, and they'll say dot list item content. So display flex align items center. Put some padding in. So 0.5 text decoration none. Get rid of our underline. Border bottom 1 pix solid. The reason for our variables light gray. Save that. Wasn't there when we started, so we have to refresh. All right, getting there, right? So this text is on the same line as our angles, and the angle is centered vertically. Right now, you'll notice that we have the whole. My pointer is not a pointer; it's a cursor at the moment. So let's do this. So all of your children, pointer events. None, and dot list item text. Let's flex one it, send it over. So now we have our angle to the right, and our cursor is a little pointer the whole time it's over it. Perfect. Let's bring up the console. So if I click, I get a security, and if I click there, I get a category. So that's all working correctly. What we can do now is deal with the other stuff. So to help us into our store in the index file, I forgot to export a couple things here. So export star from store slash, and the one I want is the descriptor. So we need the abstract class. And we need the types from security. So export star from security types. So now we're good there. So we can go back to our securities file here and do a few more importing. So what we need is the iSecurity market model state. One down. We want the it's going to be here, security descriptor. We're going to take in the state for the markets and our state decorator. So we use the getters for the securities and categories because they have properties that are set to null and we want them to be populated anytime we grab them. but it's not so for the markets. We could just use the state for it. So we'll take the state decorator, tell it what state, the one we brought in. So private, read only. I called it market state. It's going to be set for us, and it's nice security market model state. Perfect. So that has the index and the items on it. One thing we're going to need here shortly is to be able to tell which of these descriptors we're talking about. So I did forget, we're going to pull in, we're going to create a new enum. We would probably get away with using like the state string or something like that, but whatever. I've already started typing. There's no one going back. So we have the markets there. In order for us to use that in the template, though, we're going to need a property down here, a field, descriptor, markets, why plural, who knows. Descriptors, markets, perfect. That's while we're at it, make a getter for the markets. So that will just return this dot market state dot items. We're going to need to be able to deal with the clicking of them. We're not going to deal with them individually. Whole reason why we're having this enum up here. So in between here, what we'll do is private on click descriptor. This is a factory, and the reason it's a factory is it's going to take in which is descriptors, the enum, and it's going to return a function. And so that function is going to take in a descriptor, which is a security descriptor. And so what do we do for now? We call a function we haven't made yet. On click descriptor. And we'll pass in the which and descriptor. The whole reason for this is that, of course, we're getting, anytime a click happens, we're getting the item back. The way that we're going to do this is we're going to have the same information coming back for a market, a territory, segment. We need a way to tell which one it is. So we'll have this which. And so then our security, or the actual on-click one. So private on-click descriptor, which then takes in a descriptor of type security descriptor. No, not just that, right? Follow the signature that's right above it. Perfect. So we're there, and I guess that I just console logs things. Console log, put our template string in here, and all I did was to say in here, we'll just do, descriptors, which, so that'll give us a easier to read name. Give us a space. Let's just say descriptor.id. Otherwise, you just get object written there. Okay, so we've got the on-click part of this done, so we need to be able to render some stuff. Let's just steal this. I'm getting tired. So we have a descriptor. So what we have coming in, descriptor, security, descriptor, and we'll just have the label for the text. Perfect. So if all that is done well, we should be able to come up, steal that, and we have a markets and on click. So we have the on click factory one. Let's pass in the descriptor markets so we get back the function. And we need a render descriptor there. Let's save that. Did we do it right? Quick peek. I don't see any red down there. All right, so we have our markets here at the bottom of our list. We go back and we click on one of them. We get markets and the ID, so we can tell we're dealing with a market and which ID. So actually we're getting the object back. So that's good. So I think that only thing we need to do to finish things up is bring the other things in, which means it's time for copying and pasting. So we have market, segment, territory, and type. So the interfaces for those. We want the state constants, so we can use our decorator. We need some more enums, segment, territory, and types. We need more states. Everybody needs states, so we've got those 3 states. We need to set some read-only, so segments, territories, and types. We do our getters for each of them. And now we should have the data done. It's time to bring in some more list views. No. Segment, territories, and types. So let's save that. Quick peek. I see no red down there. And so now we have some more stuff below this. So if we bring up there. So those are the markets. So here are the segments, territories, and there's the types. So now we are rendering, we'll have the ability to render all of that onto the screen. Of course, this is a bit useless the way it is right now, but we'll take care of that in the next video or two. At least for this one, what we've done is created a list view. And when in fact this list view can be used later on, we're probably going to at some point in time update the name or the accounts here. Instead of displaying these names, we'll have the list view. You click on it, go over to some details screen. That's the idea here. You click on it, go to a details screen. You can delete it from there or edit, that kind of thing. But we'll take care of that sometime in the future. So we have our list view, and I guess until the next video, I will talk to you later. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video. I know that your time is valuable. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and click the thumbs up button, as well as share the video with your friends. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please leave them in the comments section below. And once again, thank you, and I will talk to you in the next video.